The Tuesday, May 18th, 2021 meeting of the Carlington School District Board of Directors is called to order. Let's start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Hoff, would you lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the secretary please call the roll? Here.
Here.
He's not going to be here this evening.
Here. Here.
She's not able to be here this evening. Here. There's a time at the beginning of our meeting where we invite members of the public to ask any questions about items that are on our agenda for tonight. Do we have anyone present here or anyone online that wishes to ask a question about an agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move on. There is a time at the end of our meeting that people can ask general questions about any topic. Next section, looking at minutes for previous meetings. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting of May 11th, 2021. Do I have a motion for that and for the minutes of the April 20th meeting of 2021?
So move for both.
Excellent. Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any discussion or questions? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. I'll report that we had an executive session part of this meeting where we discussed negotiations, personnel, and student matters. I'll now turn to Dr. Kreider for the superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. Shriver. For tonight's superintendent report, just a few things to go over if we get the PowerPoint up there to go through. On the next slide talks a little bit about the most recent guidance that we got from the CDC. And as many of you know, the CDC came out with new recommendations in regard to masking across the United States. In their masking guidelines, they talked about social distancing and masking for individuals who have been vaccinated. Their recommendation was that no masks and social distancing is not required of individuals who have had their vaccine and who are 2 weeks out from their final dose. Shortly after that, that caused a little bit of a stir, I think, for many in our community across different aspects of businesses as far as how that they would respond to that. We sent an email out shortly after getting that information from the CDC to all of our parents, just to let them know that in the interim until Pennsylvania Department of Education came out with some additional guidance for us, that we would continue enforcing our masking policy and follow all aspects of our health and safety plan. The day after the CDC, or 2 days after the CDC made their announcement, PDE met with the Department of Health here in Pennsylvania to discuss the impacts of the CDC's guidance. And what they decided to do was to provide school districts with guidance. And within that guidance, they made the recommendation for school districts to continue to follow all the mitigation strategies that they have in place, including the masking requirements. I think from what I understand and from what I read, that PDE made those recommendations for two reasons. One, they took into consideration the number of school days that were left throughout the course of this school year, being that many schools are getting out either late May or early June, that it would not make too much sense to cause a disruption to a major change in policy in regard to mitigation strategies to COVID. So their guidance and recommendation was to continue with the masking policy. That is something that, as a Carlton School District, then we will continue to enforce the masking policy. And in addition to that, all other aspects of our health and safety plan that we have identified in that plan from now until the end of the school year. And that goes in effect for both staff and for students as well in all of our buildings. As we continue to move into next year and we continue to take a look at our planning efforts towards next year, we will work very closely with all the external agencies, Department of Health, Pennsylvania Department of Education, Allegheny County Health, as new types of guidance will come out in regard to COVID and mitigation strategies. We'll put those into play. We're unsure at this time what next school year will look like in regard to that and what the requirements from PDE will be. But we will keep in close contact with them to put our strategies in place to have a successful opening for next school year. Part of our efforts to open for next school year on the next slide talks a little bit of our vaccine clinics that we've had. We had one vaccine clinic here at the junior senior high school. That was last week, last Thursday on May 13th. And that clinic at that time, if you recall, was just shortly after the announcement that the Pfizer vaccine was approved for 12 and above. This one was planned when it was only 16 and above. We did attract 17 students who were able to receive the Pfizer vaccine here on school site. We also have the second dose of that vaccine scheduled for 3 weeks out from Thursday the 13th. That comes in, I believe, June 3rd, where students will be able to get their second dose of the vaccine. It ran very smooth. A big thanks to our principals and also to our school nurses to help facilitate that process. We ran it out of the auditorium here. Students were able to get the vaccine, stayed for the proper amount of time that the Giant Eagle staffers could evaluate and make sure that they were safe to return to class. Once we got the information that the vaccine was approved for 12 and above, we wanted to provide another resource to our community and to our families and be able to sponsor a clinic for 12 and above. So we reached out. We had 2 vendors in consideration. Rite Aid was one that was able to work with us very closely. So throughout the process, we greatly appreciate Giant Eagle and also Rite Aid for being able to send staff up to help out with the vaccination plans. As of this afternoon, we had 72 students sign up for the May 20th vaccine clinic. That will also be held here at the junior senior high school. The majority of the students signed up for that. We're here at the junior senior high. I believe we have 5 students from Crafton and 6 students from Carnegie who are signed up for that. They are generally in 5th and 6th grade. So we will send a bus down to those 2 buildings. We'll pick up the students. We'll bring them up here. The clinic will run from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon. We'll schedule our elementary students first to go in line to get the vaccine. That way it'll get them up here quickly, be able to keep them as a cohort, get them their vaccine, monitor them as we go through, and then work with the Rite Aid staff to make sure that they're safe to travel back to their elementary buildings and get them on with their day. And then with the secondary students, we'll have them scheduled second on the list to go through. And we're very, very hopeful that things will run smooth again. We're very confident that will happen. So again, if any students are interested in receiving the vaccine on Thursday of this week, we sent an e-blast out today that has a link to it. And that link would need to be filled out by the parent by tomorrow noon so that we can properly prepare. And once we get your information, we'll send you out an email. There's a form that parents will need to fill out, and the child will need to bring that form with them to school with them on Thursday, along with their insurance card, or a copy of their insurance card, or even a picture of their insurance card on their phone. And the Rite Aid people will be able to go through and process that information. Next slide talks a little bit about our summer programming, which we shared in some previous meetings, but just to add a little bit more details to our summer programming. Our summer programming is designed to fill the learning gaps that were created by the COVID-19 pandemic and the impact that had on some of our children from physically attending school, and the impact that it had on that engaging type of environment that we normally have in our classrooms when it's in-person instruction for a consistent time period. So what we looked at were at the elementary level, dividing it into 2 different sessions, a session for our K through 3 students, and then a session for our students in grades 4 through 6. And as students in session 1, we'll work with our K through 3 students. And I'm sorry, there is a misprint there on the PowerPoint that I see in the second section there. Instead of K through 4, that should be 4 through 6 students. So session 1 is defined for K through 3. The dates of our summer camp for our elementary students will be June 21. That's a Monday through July 7, which is a Thursday, taking off July 5th in honor of Independence Day. And those sessions will run from 8:45 in the morning to 11:45 in the morning. So they're 3-hour sessions. And we look to really focus in on math, literacy, and unified arts during those 3 hours to really work with our students to help build their skills back up in those areas. Elementary principals are looking to identify students who would be in greatest need of that service. They have letters prepared that they will be mailing out to our parents within this week. I believe prior to Friday of this week, those letters will go out. The information that's on those letters will share with parents the exact dates and times of the programming, and also have a pre-registration form that parents will have to sign off and send back to the school so that we can prepare and have properly staffed. The second session will be designed for students in grades 4 through 6. That session runs from July 8th through July 23rd. Again, 8:45 to 11:45 in the morning. It's 12 days, focusing in on identical sets of skills. Those letters will also go out very shortly to our parents. And also embedded in the summer camps are also 2 field trips that will be taking place on Fridays during those weeks. So 2 field trips for K through 3 and 2 field trips for 4 through 6. We have a field trip coordinator who will go through and design those and create a little bit more fun and engaging type of environment that will extend the learning beyond the classroom walls and extend out into our community for some different types of fun events for our kids. So the K through 6 program, all of that will be housed over at Crafton Elementary School. The reason that we were busing everyone over to Crafton is that Carnegie we use as a spot for our summer programming, learning enrichment for many of our special education students through extended school year. We have our Chill project running there this summer. CASP and Camp AIM are also running there as well. So 2 separate buildings for our programming, one at Carnegie, and then the one that I'm highlighting here is for Crafton. All of these programs, regardless of where they are, they're free of charge to our students. We will provide transportation to all of our students to get them there and back from the school. And we will also provide each of our students with 2 meals per day. We'll provide them with a lunch that they'll get a bagged lunch when they leave, and then also get a bagged breakfast that they can use for the following morning as well. So it's something that we're very excited about. We're very appreciative of our teaching staff who has stepped up to serve in that capacity. Through working with many superintendents across Allegheny County, one of the things that they have experienced difficulty with is securing staff to run programming such as this. And that's why we're extremely excited that we were able to follow through with these plans, get this program staffed so it will have a valuable impact on our students. The next slide outlines the summer programming that we have set up for our secondary students, which is a little bit slightly different of a model. However, it runs under the same days, still runs from June 21 through July 23. We have 2 sessions that are set up, each 12-day sessions. Each session is 3 hours in length. But these sessions are not necessarily by invitation. These are more traditional type of summer school programming for students who did not experience success during the regular school year, students who had failing grades in their coursework. And what we are designing is programming over that 12-day. It's not a total recreation of the course, but what our teachers are designing are lessons that will focus in on the major components, the big picture ideas of each of those courses. So you can see in the first session there that we are running the following coursework: English from grades 7, 8, 9, and 11. Also Science 7, Science 8, Biology, Algebra 1, Geometry, and Social Studies 10. So if students did not experience success in those classes, they will have the opportunity to come in to recover that course grade. For students in grades 7 and 8, they need to pass those classes in order to be promoted to the next grade level. So it's extremely important that if students did not pass that coursework during the regular school year, that they attend summer school to get that credit so that they can be promoted to the next grade level. The whole idea here is making sure that our students are prepared for the next sequential course throughout their high school experience and be properly prepared for that. The second session, we pick up additional courses. We pick up English 10, Biology, Math 7, Math 8, Algebra 1, Algebra 2 Trig, Social Studies, grades 7, 8, and 9, and then also American Government and Economics. Now, you will see that there are some asterisks next to some of those courses. The courses without an asterisk will be in-person, face-to-face classes that we do have staff for. We were not able to get staff for all of our classes. However, we will be able to offer instruction to students in those courses through Apex Learning, and students will still be required to report to the junior senior high school on those days to log on to their computers and work on that coursework during those 12 days and document their progress using the Apex Learning tool, which has been extremely valuable to many of our students. One thing you'll notice, it's grades 7 through 11. We don't have grade 12 that's included on that list. As you know, and previously reported, we've been working with our senior students throughout the course of this year using Apex Learning in an after-school program to remediate some of the skills that they lost throughout the course of this school year to help them meet their graduation requirements. So for that reason, it's grades 7 through 11. Grades 12, we're treating as a separate entity and working with those students independently. So throughout the process, secondary summer school students can recover at best anywhere between a C and a D, and that will take into consideration their performance during the regular school year, combined with their success during the summer programming. Those grades will be put into a matrix, and their final grade will be determined by the performance of both in school during the regular school year and then also through their attendance at summer school. Very similar to the elementary program, we're looking to close the learning gap to help prepare students for success at the next level, and especially at the high school for the next sequential course. Students moving from Algebra 1 to Geometry or to Algebra 2, from English 9 to English 10, to give them those skills that they need to be successful and work towards their graduation dates. So at the secondary level, if there's students that don't take advantage of that, they could jeopardize their ability to take the next sequential class, and it could also jeopardize their targeted graduation date as well. So we really want to encourage our students to come in over the summer months. It's going to be a lot of fun there in 12 quick days at 3 hours a shot, and really getting the coursework that's designed at the higher level to bring students along. The next slide also has some additional programming that Dr. Manich was able to work with some local resources through the AIU to get some programming involved. 3 of those are listed there. They're not the easiest to pronounce based on the very beginnings of each of those being the creative component to it. You have the architecture, which is sponsored by Art Expressions Incorporated, and also the Artistic Dreamers, hosted by Art Expressions Incorporated. They're going to bring programming into the elementary level, K through 6, through workshops, and we're looking at designing the schedule there for some of that workshop experience to be done in the morning session and potentially in the afternoon session as well, to create more opportunities for students to engage in the arts, to engage in some valuable learning opportunities. And in there, there's some descriptions there as far as what they would do with the architecture type of course. It's building bridges. It's talking about the building components, the architecture, engineering type of concepts. Simple math types of equations are enforced throughout the process. And then the Artistic Dreamers is a little bit more hands-on approach, dealing with artistics, new terms in art, painting, clay, print. So again, a lot of hands-on fun types of activities for our children to engage in as well. And then at the secondary level, we have a good partnership with the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust, through which will be a little bit more of a career exploration. And so when we talk about performance arts and careers in the performance arts, it'll move beyond just the simple theatrics and just the performance side of things, but then also what takes place behind the scenes, the choreographing, the playwright, the lighting, the sound, that group of individuals will help work through our students to give them exposure to different types of careers in the field of the arts. So that's something we're very excited about. I know Dr. Manich has a meeting tomorrow morning to discuss more in detail. We were just notified that we were recipients of that grant today. So that's why the planning for this one lags a little bit behind, but we will work our best to get that information out to our parents and to our students as well as far as that programming goes. The final slide for my presentation this evening talks a little bit about the 21-22 school year as far as what our plans are for next year. Naturally, as things progress in this environment, rules have changed in some cases very rapidly over the past 9 to 12 months. That things have changed very quickly on us. We'll continue to keep up with all the changes and all the mandates that we have from the state. But we plan to return to a full 5-day model where students are reporting for in-person instruction on a daily basis. We look to curtail and curb back the live streaming that we have currently coming out of our classrooms, where that is done on a daily basis. And the rationale for that was the live streaming on a daily basis. We allowed students, and we made the commitment to all of our families of Carlinton this year, was that we made that promise that students would be able to learn in person and students would be able to learn from home. We maintained that promise and that commitment by live streaming all of our classes straight out of the classroom so students could remain at home. For some students, that option worked, and for other students, it did not work. We want to create and make sure that we have an engaging environment for our students. We want to encourage attendance, and that is a major part of reducing that live stream feature out of our classrooms. Students who continue to not feel comfortable reporting to school, we do have the Carlinton Cyber Academy, which we will continue to advertise and continue to work with families to help them get enrolled into that program. That program, we work very seamlessly between the school and the Carlinton Cyber Academy. So students who start off there and then eventually throughout the course of the year, if they feel comfortable transitioning back into the classroom, we will have that set up. And we'll also monitor progress of students very carefully in those programs to make sure that they are being academically successful. If we start to notice that students are struggling, we will work to get them back into in-person instruction so they can have that more engaging type of atmosphere with their teacher. In regard to technology, we look to provide our students in grades 3 through 12 with a Chromebook, very similar to what they were issued this year. Will be a Chromebook then that they will be able to use here at school, take home with them as well to work on their studies. And then students in grades K through 2 will be provided access to Chromebooks within their classroom. So either be classroom sets or carts that teachers will be able to share throughout the course of the school day so that we can still continue to teach the technology skills that students need to be successful. Naturally, as I mentioned before, we'll continue to collaborate with a variety of external agencies to make sure that we create an environment that is safe for all of our students and staff. And also to help us prepare, we'll also be sending out a survey prior to the end of the school year to gather the input from parents in regard to their comfort level to returning to a 5-day model, what their plans would be for the upcoming school year. And we'll probably have some other questions in there in regard to vaccination plans as well, just to collect that information from our parents as well. So we look forward to next school year. It's something that's very exciting. I know that all of our staff across the board, whether they work in our cafeteria, whether they're our custodial staff, whether they're our teachers, our instructional aides, our nurses, our secretaries, all of them are very much looking forward to a full schoolhouse, getting things back to a little bit more sense of normalcy, create that engaging environment in the classroom and getting back to that excitement for learning and preparing our students for success as they approach different parts of their life here as they grow and move forward. That is my report for this evening. Any questions from the board in regard to any information that was presented here this evening or plans for next school year? Thank you. Okay, Mr. Shriver, I'll turn it back over to you.
Moving on to committee reports, Parkway West, Director Apple, anything to Anything to share on Parkway West?
Sorry about that. Always good things happening out at Parkway. To give you a little sample of the sense of community out there, unfortunately, a West Allegheny cosmetology student. It's on.
Put it on.
How about now? Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry about that. So just to give you a sense of the atmosphere and community out there, a West Allegheny cosmetology student, unfortunately, her family lost their home in a fire. And so last Friday, they put on a spaghetti dinner fundraiser and raised about $2,800. And the staff kicked in, teaching staff kicked in and enough to raise it up to 3,000. So that's just a really nice atmosphere that our kids are able to enjoy out there. And as such, they had a senior recognition ceremony on the 12th. Each of the students was able to wear a cap and gown and be recognized for their achievements in their program areas, individual program areas. And they were allowed 2 people per student to attend. So what they're going to do is they're going to they taped all that. And they're going to edit together and present it as a whole kind of graduation ceremony that's available for the students out there, so they can all share in each other's successes. And then I guess lastly, no. So Carleton students, Haley DeSimone and Amanda McLean are 2 of the recipients of the Challenge Program, which is sponsored by Mascaro Construction. They each were awarded $200 to be utilized towards the cost of post-secondary education. So it's great to see our kids out there being recognized for their excellence. And then finally, Parkway West every year does a 2-day summer camp. It's for students from 5th through 8th grade, just to kind of give them an idea of what sort of things go on out there, so that they could maybe, explore some of their interests and think about attending Parkway West. So in previous years, they've had about, I think, 150 middle school students from each of the, from the 12 sending school districts. And then this year, they've got a lot of interest. They've got 250 students that have registered for the summer program. So, I think that that shows that it's an attractive product for students and their families, and it's growing out there. So that's all I've got. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy. No, great.
Thank you, Director Apple. Pathfinder, Director Hanshar, any updates for us?
Tomorrow, the next one. There's a tie on a personal matter. Our principal at Pathfinder is Nick Fratton, and his father, Dr. Nicholas Fratton, was our superintendent here 50 years ago. Well, he passed away. He probably would have been here last 5 weeks. That's it.
Thank you. For Shazda, Director Zaletsky is out today. I don't know, Dr. Kreider, if there's any updates. Okay. Moving on to legislative, PSBA, and the foundation. Director Simzik.
Okay, just a couple of legislative updates. The first I want to talk about is Senate Bill 664 regarding an optional year of education. It passed the Senate Education Committee unanimously, 10-0 on Monday. This would allow parents to have their children repeat a grade that they were in during the 2021 school year if they feel like their students didn't learn enough or lost too much academic ground. So in current practice, it's the parents don't make that decision. So this would allow the parents to make that decision. This bill awaits action in the full Senate, so it hasn't gone that far yet. There's also similar legislation limited to offering an extra year to students in special education programs. That's been introduced in the House. It's House Bill 909. It was introduced in March, but it hasn't gone to committee yet. And then the Senate Bill 664, again, it would also allow students in all grades to repeat their current grade. It would allow students with intellectual disabilities to remain in school for an extra year beyond the time they turn 21. So that's out there, headed to the Senate. And then also just to revisit House Bill 272, which is the charter school reform, that has been referred to the Senate Education Committee at this point. So those are just a couple of legislative updates. And then as far as the Education Foundation, we just still haven't had a meeting, so
Right.
nothing to report there. Thank
Understandable.
you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any last questions on committee reports before we move on? All right. Moving on to section 4 of our agenda. Switch to the, I'll entertain a motion to approve the following 2 items under section 4. The number 1, the addition to the 2020-2021 conference and field trip list as submitted. And number 2, the Carlington Junior Senior High School additional targeted support and improvement plan, ATSI, as submitted. Do I have a motion for those 2 items?
So moved.
Move. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Under section 5, finance, we have a lot of items. We have 12 items. I'll entertain a motion to approve number 1, the 2021-2022 proposed final budget in the amount of $30,879,655 with a millage rate of 26.7432. The proposed final budget will be advertised for a period of 30 days prior to the adoption and available for public inspection.
Driver, if I may, we're not passing a millage rate this evening. That will be done in June when we do the final budget. The millage rate shown here is just the math is what it would be if this were the final budget, but we will not be passing a millage rate this evening.
So it's a speculated rate at this point.
Correct. I'm sorry.
Yep. So that millage rate would be required to support that budget if that's the final budget.
If that
number
were the
approved
final
in-
budget, that is
in June.
correct.
Okay. Thank you. Good clarification. Thank you, Bill. Number 2, to approve the treasurer's report for the month of April 2021 as submitted. Number 3, to approve the bills for the month of April 2021 in the amount of $470,707.45. Number 4, to approve the budget transfers for the month of April 2021 as submitted. Number 5, to appoint Keith Bealby as the school board secretary for the term of 4 years, beginning July 1st, 2021. Number 6, to appoint Jude Frank as treasurer of the school board for a term of 1 year, beginning July 1st, 2021. Number 7, to approve the agreement between the district and the Keystone Oaks School District for participation in the Project Succeed Consortium for the 2021-2022 school year as submitted. Number 8, to approve the PSBA membership dues for the 2021-2022 school year, including policy maintenance in the amount of $8,768.71 as submitted. Number 9, the contract for professional services for the purchase of PSBA's administrative regulation services as submitted. Number 10, the termination of school-based mental health therapy services agreement with Wesley Family Services at Carlington Junior Senior High School effective May 28th, 2021. Number 11, the athletic fund report for the month of April 2021 with an ending balance of $8,204.08. And lastly, number 12, the activities fund report for the month of April 2021 with an ending balance of $92,716.96. Do I have a motion for those
Excuse me,
12?
before you go on, Jim,
Yep.
I just wanted to point out that on the paper copy, one of the items is missing. It's the one about electing Director Frank as treasurer. It's not on the paper copy. So if anybody's following along, That was missing. I'm sure you see it on the screen.
I was just going to mention that that item, as well as the last item on under personnel for custodial maintenance, was added at the late hour, and I had copied these beforehand, so I apologize.
Good catch, Chris. Thank you. Good. Thank you for noting it. So with that, any questions? Actually, do I have a motion for those 12 items?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any questions or comments? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Section 6, personnel. There are 11 items there on Section 6. I'll entertain a motion to approve number 1. The following educators for the positions of summer school teachers at the secondary level and consistent with the terms of the Carleton Federation of Teachers Collective Bargaining Unit Agreement. Sessions will be offered based upon enrollment June 21st through July 7th, 2021, and July 8th through 23rd, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Compensation per session is $2,400. Teacher names Carrie Badger, Chelsea Cerveris, Rachel Ank, Anthony Istick, Tony Lynn Jackson, Michael Cozy, Rebecca Malovich, William Polonis, Greg Petronsky, and Pamela Stone. Number 2, to approve the following educators for the positions of summer school teachers at the elementary level and consistent with the terms of the CFT CBA. Sessions will be offered based upon enrollment June 21st through July 7th, 2021, and July 8th through 23rd, 2021, from 8:45 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. Compensation per session is $2,400. Teacher names Courtney Blocker, Emily Brozenick, Pamela Diels, Kimberly Doden, Cynthia Eddy, Susan Costco, and Lori Zimmerman. Number 3, the following instructional aides for the positions of summer school aides at the elementary level and consistent of the terms of the Secretary Cafeteria Aides Collective Bargaining Unit Agreement. Sessions will be offered based upon enrollment June 21st through July 7th, 2021, and July 8th through the 23rd, 2021, from 8:45 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. Compensation per session is $650. Aides include Christina Foley, Catherine Farrow, and Rena Taylor. Number 4, to approve Kimberly Sumter for the position of Title I Elementary Reading Specialist and Math Tutor for the period of June 14th, 2021 through July 14th, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at an hourly stipend of $40 and consistent with the terms of the CFT CBA. Number 5, to approve Luke Oak as a substitute for the Carleton Academic Summer Program as needed during the period of June 21st through July 16th, 2021 at the per diem rate. Number 6, to approve the addition of Mark Heil as the varsity girls basketball coach and Aaron Signorowitz. Did I get that right, Michelle? Sorry. I apologize, Aaron. Signorowitz as the varsity head volleyball coach for the 2021-22 seasons per the stipend provided in the 2021-2022 athletic supplemental list. Number 7, to approve the increase to the custodian substitute hourly wage from $10 to $13.25. Number 8, to accept the letter of intent to retire as submitted by Michelle Herman, effective August 19th, 2021, per the terms of the confidential agreement. Number 9, to accept the letter of intent to retire as submitted by elementary cafeteria worker Linda Kelsey, effective April 26, 2021, per the terms of the SCA CBA. Number 10, to approve the request for a leave of absences for employees SCA 2021-16 and CM 2021-17. And number 11, to approve Derek Browning for the position of custodian, effective May 24th, 2021, under the terms of the custodial maintenance CBA. Do I have a motion for those 11 items under personnel? Thank you. Do you have a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thanks. Under Section 7, Policy Services, I'll entertain a motion to approve the second reading of the revisions and updates to policies 006.1, 103, 104, 111, 113.1, 113.4, 122, 123, 123.2, 137.1, 146.1, and 150. I have a motion for those policy updates? Move. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Section 8, old business. Does any director have any old business they would like to bring up? Yep. Any old business any board member wants to discuss? Nope. Any new business any board member would like to discuss?
I just want to commend Michelle. and that senior class for the wonderful organization that they had last Friday for the opening and the celebration of the time capsule. The senior class did such a great job, and it was so well organized. And Michelle, you advertised it so well that it was very well attended. Thank you very much.
George, I'll second that. Thank you. And you mentioned the name Michelle Herman. We have 2 intent to retires. I don't know if the board was going to accept those or not, but I guess. Thank you.
Yes, and with Michelle's retirement, I know she doesn't want anything big, glamorous or anything crazy, but Michelle was extremely instrumental, as George had mentioned, with our most recent 50th anniversary up here at the Hilltop. But as far as me coming into the superintendency, Michelle was just an outstanding person to have in the office. Her historic perspective of the school district is extremely strong. Her drive and passion for students is extremely notable with all of her comments and all of her actions. She's very student focused for being someone who in many cases is removed from our students, but puts herself into that element through her role with publicity and any type of activity that we have. Michelle is there. She's collecting tickets. She's selling tickets. She's helping out. She's taking pictures. She's at homecoming. She's at prom. She's at a lot of different places that she goes always to snap pictures. And I think it's not something that she has to do. It's something that she wants to do. And I think it's something it's very evident in the quality of her work. Everything that I've seen from our website and the developments, the work that she does with our school magazine, everything is very carefully designed and very well thought. She's a very hard worker, very dedicated, and she's certainly somebody that I will miss in the superintendent's office. And I think the rest of the district will miss her leadership and her dedication. So Michelle, thank you for your years of service to the Carlington School District. You're an exemplary employee, and we appreciate all the work that you've done for us.
Jim, this is not new business, but I'd also like to give a shout out to Mr. Priori at the elementary school. So he's our elementary school music teacher, and he has been charged with trying to teach band to remote students during a pandemic, which, being home with my 6th grade saxophone player during a good chunk of this year and taking conference calls in the basement while I can hear it going on upstairs. He actually, because they couldn't have a band concert this year, had the students videotape themselves playing certain aspects of, I think, 2 different songs. And then through the wonder of technology that I have no idea how he did it, he put it all together into this video where they all sounded like they were playing together. And it was absolutely amazing. And I can't imagine the number of hours that it took him to put that together, but like they actually sounded like they were together and like they knew how to play their instruments. So I was very impressed by that. I emailed him. He sent the link out to all of the parents, but it was, maybe we can put that on the website because it was really, really, really good. And I can't imagine the hours that it took him to do that. So way to go, Mr. Priori. Band in a pandemic.
I definitely.
It was very good.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. Any other board open issues before we go to the public? Nope. Anyone in the public that wishes to address the board? Yes, sir. If you would rise and just share your name with us. Great. Thank you, Susie. Yeah.
I'm vaccinated. Is it okay if I take my mask off, or would you prefer me to keep it on?
I'm in the school. We asked it.
Okay. Understood. Well, I appreciate you giving me the time to make this request. It's regarding my daughter Regina's enrollment in kindergarten at Crafton Elementary. I just want to give some context about my request. My family and I were living in New York City when the pandemic started, and Regina at the time was enrolled in pre-K or about to go in the fall. But my wife got COVID and she recovered. She's fine. But we decided to move to Pittsburgh to be closer to family and have that support. But when we moved here, there was no public pre-K in Pittsburgh. So we decided to wait and enroll her in kindergarten at where we were zoned at Colfax. But then we found a house that we loved in Crafton and even near our family. So we decided to move, and we're set to move this summer. But then we realized that the cutoff date for the Crafton Elementary School was August 15th, and Regina's birthday is August 22nd. So it's a week after the cutoff date and a week before school starts on August 30th. And I'm here to basically ask for any kind of leniency regarding this. And I would love for her to have a more consistent the next few years, as opposed to the tough year that we've all had last year, and stay with the same cohort of kids from K through 5 if possible. And I have something else to add to that might be helpful. I did some research about Allegheny County, and there are only 3 out of the 43 school districts have cutoff dates for kindergarten before September 1st. And one of them, Hampton School District, has what's called a special permission clause, where they allow any child who turns 5 before November 30th of the same year to be screened for what's called developmental readiness. I'm new to this, so I was just researching it. And that could either be an assessment done by a teacher, or it could be done by a private psychologist and submitted to the school to verify and approve. So I wanted to offer that as well as a possible approach. But overall, I appreciate your time and your consideration.
If I could, first of all, thank you for coming. Thank you for the way you presented your question. I appreciate that. As a parent, I'll share a couple quick thoughts, and then I think our superintendent has some additional thoughts. I have a child that's born September 3rd, so just after that cutoff, and I'm familiar with that angst and that wish and that desire. You've got a bright kid that's looking for learning. We ended up electing to use local pre-K programs. There are several in the district that are very high quality and engage the kids and give them an age-appropriate intellectual and social stimulation that they're looking for. And maybe depending on what you're able to work out with the superintendent of the district, maybe there's some offerings of a pre-K program that would satisfy your family and your daughter that would be, again, stimulating for all of her needs. And last point is, as my family has gone through that question with a couple of our children, we've researched a little bit. We've talked to other parents, and we've seen that even if the intellectual capabilities are present at that age, sometimes the social aspects are not. And even if they are at that age, sometimes a couple years later, the age gap can come in and can hinder a child. So again, I don't know where the conversation might lead, but don't fret if you're not able to work something out. I think you've found the best hidden secret in Pittsburgh as far as school districts go, and I think your daughter will thrive here, whether she's able to go in the fall or maybe the next fall. But thank you for sharing your concerns and your question.
Yeah, thank you. And I've just been impressed by everything you've done during the pandemic year. And so I've read a few other agenda items and just to learn about it. So I'd be excited for her to go here. Thanks.
And I know we spoke we spoke on the phone in regard to the situation, and the one major piece is we have a cutoff date, and I think the district recognizes that there are many students that have different readiness levels in regard to being prepared. I know that in the past, we had recommendations as we moved our school day, the beginning of the school year up into August. We did adjust the kindergarten registration date earlier in the year within the past, I think, 2 or 3 years as far as the most recent. And just in staffing with our principals and with our director of special education and pupil services, I also shared with them the different types of options, as you had mentioned, through as Hampton, as an example, what they do with getting a psychologist type of evaluation. And the challenge with that is just the different types of models that are out there, and being able to come up with something consistent globally in our district would be a challenge for us, especially at this time where we are in the school year, where we've already started the registration process. So I know when we spoke on the phone, I said might be a long shot, but certainly to come here to make your case. But I think the district is going to stay firm with the cutoff date that we have in place. And then I think outside of this meeting, I think you and we can talk for some different types of, I know you wanted to pursue some different options potentially as well. And we can take a look at some of those options and what impact that would have here at Carlinton. So I'd be more than happy to follow up with you too personally to guide you through the process and move forward. Yeah. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Does he know it's upside down?
Thank you again for sharing your question. Any other open forum questions online? Nope. Okay. Any board members have any open forum questions? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you.